Kia ora te whānau, nau mai ki te wānanga o ai.
Please know that we aren't experts or doctors.
We are opening up our hearts and sharing our thoughts and experiences to create a safe space to talk about sex.
To support and inform our rangatahi.
We encourage you to have an open mind and heart to this kaupapa.
This program contains strong language and sexual content intended for mature audiences only.
Viewer discretion advised.
You must be 18 or have parental approval to view this series.
Nau mai, tomo mai ki te whare o ai.
I remember the first time I ever watched porn was with my boyfriend in high school, and then all of a sudden they're having sex. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa!
Everyone was given the task of sculpting their favourite sex position.
Here I am, spread eagle on the bottom.
Never have I ever had sex with multiple people at one time.
Like, what do you mean? Haere te pō, nau mai te ao, nau mai rā ko tāne te wānanga, kia wānanga ai tātou. Can I get a ai, ai, ai?
Ai, ai, ai.
Can I get a haia?
Haia.
Haia, te whānau, ka pai he hōtaka nui. He maha tonu ngā kaupapa, and today we're talking about self-love, self-aroha. Okay. We're going to start off with a bit of a confession there. Hey, whakahihi ko I ngā mahara. And I think Stevie Girl's got our confession for today. So let's listen up and see how te whakinga o te rangi nei.
Okay. Self-love, the real key to happiness. I have some serious self-love issues. I've been known to jump from guy to guy because I'm scared of being alone. I was brought up without a real fatherly figure. I mean, I had a dad, but he and my mum split when I was 10. They went through this phase of trying to one-up each other, and that honestly is the root of all my problems. Watching them do this instilled the need for me to find true, everlasting love like the ones in the movies. I was searching for my Prince Charming to sweep me off my feet and keep me happy for the rest of my life. This became my ultimate goal in life. I quickly fell in love with the idea of love and became a hopeless romantic very early on in life, easily falling in and out of love with other guys on the internet. But I never connected with guys in real life. It made me feel like something was wrong with me. Maybe it was because I was too fat, because I was too smart, because I was ugly. I didn't know for sure. So obviously I was very insecure. Little did I know that I had already fallen into the trap of needing a relationship just to prove that I had value, that I mattered, and that I was worth loving. I have this one guy who I consistently go back to. Our relationship consists of constant ups and downs, more downs, because he was my first everything. And as time went on, I valued being in the relationship more than I valued myself. I didn't think that I would find anyone else who could actually give me the love I deserved. So I took a lot of shit, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, hot and cold behavior, and stayed in the relationship way longer than I should have because I didn't want to end up like my parents. After the final breakup, I missed the routine of being in a relationship, spending time with him, our good memories, intimacy. I was worried about trying to start over with my ex for the 100th time because of this need, so I started using dating apps to meet new people. At some point, I decided that it was time to use the free time to my advantage. Having been in a relationship for so long and never having been good at putting myself and my needs first, I decided that it was time to start learning how to do that. Anei te pātai. What are some ways I can start learning to love myself and put my happiness first?
And that's a bit of a deep part, though, too. You know, the first half I was like, oh my God, did I write this?
That's exactly what I was thinking too.
Oh my God, life story right there. No, I think there is a lot to unload there and a lot to unpack, especially when it does come to self-love. I know one of the biggest kōrero of RuPaul, how the hell are you going to love somebody else if you can't even love yourself? And so that in itself says a lot. And I think spending more time with yourself as well and exploring yourself, because I mean, I don't even feel like I'm valid enough to give that advice because I'm still going through that same journey myself. But my own personal experiences have been, spending more time with yourself and being all right with that and getting to know yourself alone, because that's when you can really discover more about yourself as opposed to discovering yourself through someone else or with someone else. And don't get me wrong, you can still find more self-love and exploration through others, but that true kind of love that you're looking for when we're talking self-love, I actually just saw a post this morning saying that it's a privilege to love yourself. You know, and it is in this day and age, especially with, of course, our mental health and everything like that. But it's a huge thing when it comes to, especially going into relationships. And of course, I can't even speak to that. So, and how whakaaro tahu boy?
I'm a little bit rairu about it because, like, when you're on the self-love journey, you kind of have to really take responsibility for it. And she's like saying, my parents are the root of all my problems and things like that. Like, they're not. You're your problem at the end of the day because you're the one who you have to fix. And nobody else is going to help you at that point. And, like, when she's talking about falling in love easily online, like, that doesn't come from those problems. That comes from inside and your own insecurities where you're just latching on to any type of desire out there. So that's where, like, pai tōna haerenga i nānei. So she should be on this journey where she tries to really look at herself and go through that time, but I think take responsibility for it herself and, look into it herself.
Well, I mean,
don't have outside whakaaro about anything else affecting it. Just check yourself. And
but inevitably, we come pre-programmed from our parents, right? And all those kind of experiences. So I get what she's saying and identifying. I'm glad she can identify a core. But you're right in that it's her responsibility to kind of address that and work on that shadow work and kind of resolve those types of traumas because we've heard kōrero with Kitty as well, and she's saying that we go into situations, relationships as well already pre-programmed, right, pre-wired, and it's that kind of our responsibility to actually ask ourselves and hold ourselves up, actually, hold accountability on ourselves to shine more light on it, but to resolve it. So you're not just saying, oh, it's my parents' fault that I'm like this. Or it's like, it's my parents' fault that I learned, like, you know, taking a different perspective, like Tahu Boy said. Pēhea kōrua wahine mā, because it is coming from te aronga te wahine.
Yeah, definitely. I think about, you know, you're in the honeymoon phase and everything is real great. And then obviously after the honeymoon phase and having a baby, it really makes you see the real sides of a person, which I think, you know, our confessioner today has talked about how the relationship that they were in wasn't healthy and they had a lot of ups and downs. And so, you know, going back to exactly what, you know, everyone's been saying in terms of filling that hole, I think it's also about not, you know, we've talked about not looking to others to fill that hole, especially when it comes to parental trauma. You know, I can 100% totally understand, like, the whole daddy issues thing. Girl, I could write a book on that, you know? But looking for tāne or looking for a relationship to fill a hole that a parent or some kind of trauma has made within you is never gonna work. And exactly what you're saying, you know, it's up to her to be able to do that. And just like it was up to me to do my own internal work so that I wasn't taking my own stuff out on my partner or even on myself, you know, just to heal myself. And something that I've noticed over the years is that it's not just a one-stop thing. So it's not like, oh, cool, I go to counselling and I deal with that, and then cool, ka pai tick, that's my daddy issues off and I'm good, you know.
It's a forever thing.
It is. It is. It's an ongoing thing, and I think that's something that, you know, they're going to have to understand, is that it's definitely something they're going to have to deal with, but understanding that it's a process and it's a journey, as is self-love, you know, te akina tō aria is not a one day get up and drink a glass of water and that's, and
you're
me.
You're pure.
Yeah.
And me ata haere, It's a journey.
Te one, what kind of advice could you give to this kaupapa, especially to our kaiwhaki te rangi nei?
Kaiwhaki. I think look back at the stuff that you have already done to make shifts and just channel that energy. It took a lot for them to be able to make the shift with the partner and then trying to figure out like if you want, and I agree about the whole trying to find lust thing. They made a shift. That means that it's possible. They just need to look back, so that they can use that as, I guess, something to continue to push them through, because you always get to a stage where you're like, oh, I can't do this. But actually, how did you get here today? Because you would have had challenges maybe every day, maybe a few days, maybe once in a few years, but you would have had challenges on your way to today. So whatever you've done in the past to be able to push through a challenge, that's exactly what you need to do in these times. Take the moment to be vulnerable enough in yourself and by yourself to be able to make those shifts and be uncomfortably confident in what you're doing, because it's okay to not be comfortable in new experiences. However, when you do it a little bit more, it gets a lot easier. Like all those fun things we like to do.
I think one thing we need to establish, right, because we're sitting here trying to give you advice. What is self-love? Like, what actually is it? So, you look at it, there's so many interpretations of what self-love is. And so is there like a definite answer? Is it contextual? Is there, what's the most common answer that can be for all? What is self-love?
Sleep.
So
like you said, everyone's different.
Right,
however, everyone needs to sleep. And if you are pushing yourself where you're not sleeping enough, you're actually not looking after your body. So you actually need to listen to your body when your tinana starts to say, you know what, I'm done. Have a rest. And that's something that everyone could kind of relate to.
It's like, sleeping too much.
Yes.
So maybe it's like a distributed...
it depends.
Sleep,
if your body tells you to sleep for 11 hours, 10 hours, then me mahi.
My body tells me to sleep every 11 hours every day.
The thing I don't like about that is that like it happens every day and there's no real reflecting on it. Like it's not like it's a thing you don't even choose to do. It just happens. So for me, like it's things that you're aware of and you're purposefully
intentionally.
It's intentional.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, because personally, sleep is my self-care. Because I'm such a busy person and I'm always on the run, or always doing stuff. When I get time to sleep, because sometimes I might have to live on a couple weeks of 6 to 7 hour sleep, that's not long enough for me. So then when I do get the chance, I may sleep for 3 days for about 10 to 11 hours for 3 days. But then once I'm rested, then I'm back.
Well, I think it's one form.
You're intentionally distributing
using
that sleep here and then 11 hours over here. So.
But so I guess when you think about self-care, if you're thinking of self-care and then you go to sleep, then you're doing self-care. However, if you just go to sleep, then you're not self-caring. But what I was trying to address is something that we all can do, because there are other self-care things that not everyone would like to do. Lots of girls let me pull that back. Lots of people like to get their makeup done, their hair done, their nails done. That's a form of self-care. Others might like to have a wānanga, to be able to let things out, or maybe trying to challenge some things that might be going through their head, or just meditating. So I don't necessarily meditate or anything. I don't know if there's a proper way to do it. However, I take time to be with myself, whether that's planting my ground into the grass, my feet into the grass, and just being grounded and just sitting there. Listening to the wind.
I think one thing about self-care that we don't often like to talk about, though, is like self-care is not always pretty and easy. Like it's not always doing the things you want to do. It's not always getting your nails done, getting pampered, doing this makes, I really want to do this. Sometimes self-care is fudge. I do not want to get up out of bed and go for a walk, but I need to, You know that TikTok when people are like, going for a stupid walk for my stupid mental health? Like sometimes that's what, that's what self-care is it's taking care of, maybe it's looking at, you know, the rautaki of te whare tapawhā, you know, looking at that. Sometimes it's looking at, okay, which of the walls of my whare is the weakest. Unfortunately, that's probably the one I need to look at. If that's my physical health, if that's my emotional health, you know, maybe I don't want to do it, but I need to, you know, self-care isn't always...
That uncomfortability. It's not just like a ride, like you enjoy it all the time. Like another side to that is addressing your traumas and shadow work and all of the kind of dense, dark mentalities that come with revisiting your past and all of that kind of stuff. But that, like you said, it's another form of self-love, self-care, because you're actually intentionally healing yourself by addressing thoughts and triggers in your thought processes and why you think this way because of a past event or other interactions and stuff like that. So I love how you've touched on self-care isn't always comfortable. It isn't always
In fact,
enjoyable.
Often it's uncomfortable because comfortable, you know, you don't go in your comfort
Is it
zone.
always alone? Because for me, self-care looks like going home to my whānau.
Yeah, pai tēnā.
Wānanga, go home to my whānau. If I see my maunga, I'm all right.
Ka kotahi aku whakaaro ki te tākutara kia tā Mason Dury, ne? Koe nā te aronga o tēnā mea te toiora kia tātou te Māori, e hāngai ana ki ngā āhua tanga katoa te whare tapawhā. You know, you heard that every time we talk about holistic health as Māori, I think the general consensus now is whare tapawhā, ne? So what is it? Is that hāngai to self-love? Is there intention within whare tapawhā? Shall we dissect what that looks like? Because it is quite holistic, ne? Especially when we're talking about our health, mentally, physically, socially. And it's also, I know that they've added like a fifth little element into there. Whare tapawhā. Ana te papa ko te whenua, ko papatu anuku ko te taiao, ne? So the whare's got a flaw now, ko papatu anuku te paparahi. And it's really just, kind of encapsulating what Māori health looks like. So what are our thoughts around whare tapawhā? And it's, maybe it's influence on how we see self-love. Is there any influence? Is it the way to go? Is there anything better out there?
Hea ngā taha he whā.
So you've got taha tinana, taha wairua, taha hinengaro, taha whānau.
Yeah, that's pretty much me.
So what are you doing what's your taha wairua then?
Taha wairua?
Yeah.
Not me.
I definitely know for you there's spirituality, especially you being on your whenua.
Yes.
Your hono ki tērā whakapapa. You know, there's a spirituality around all of that. I think the hardest one for me is spirituality and all that kind of stuff.
I think I do whare tapawhā activities all the time in high schools with students, and that is the side that people struggle with the most, because often in te ao huri we equate spirituality with religion, but it's not like that at all. We've been spiritual people long before the arrival of colonization and Christianity. And exactly, for some people, spirituality is, you know, hokia ki tō maunga, you know. For you, if that's what your spirituality looks like, if that looks like, you know, karakia, but it doesn't necessarily have to be religious karakia, you know, it can be that as well.
For me, a taha wairua can be through karakia, can be through waiata, things like that, reconnecting in that way. But that's for some people. That's what I'm just like, I'm sitting over here going, we have someone that's, like, ke te whaka mana i te reo Māori. So all of that stuff, and because my experience with te whare tapawhā, we've adopted in te ao hōkakatanga and also in mental health. So we've done a few things where we've tried to support sexual health using te whare tapawhā, and same with mental health. However, they always come back together. And when I sit here, wairua is always the hardest. However, lots of people don't realize that they actually are touching there. And because that's my journey at the moment, that's what I'm on. I'm trying to reconnect with my reo. I'm trying to reconnect with my whakapapa to be able to, I want to be able to have a strong connection with my whakapapa and my whānau.
Tika tonu, thank you for that reminder. Hei whakahoki mai anō i a tātou ko tae mai te manuhiri o te rangi nei. Nā reira i tēnei wā kia whakawhiti atu tātou kia Abi, ahi pene! Taku hua, oh my gosh, and she is looking stunning and red. Oh, kia ora Abi, girl, tēnā koe I whai wā mai ki tēnei kaupapa. Thank you so much for finding some love for this kaupapa and for this wānanga today. We're very lucky to have you on our hōtaka today. Please, firstly, before we do get into anything, Abi, whakamāramatia mai, ko wai koe, no hea koe, and how mahi, what do you do?
Kia ora everybody. So my name is Ahipene Manukosonge Balu, but everyone calls me Abi. It's my nickname. I am of Māori and Niuean descent, so half. I am from Ngāpuhi, Ngāti Whātua, and Ngāti Ranginui. I'm 26 years of age. I'm currently a business owner at the moment, eldest of 6 siblings, and I work for myself, but my life wasn't handed to me on a platter. I've gone through a lot of things to get to where I am today, but I'm very proud of the woman that I am and where I'm going.
And I'm proud of you too, yes. Abi girl. Now, if you guys don't know Abi has also done some styling. Girls got Abi eyewear, so please whaiatu. Abi, what I do want to start with was, where did it all begin for you? Where did it all start?
I feel pretty much from a young age, I knew I was destined for greatness. I just knew I was different. I had something in me that could change people's lives, including my own. So I grew up in a big family around my nan, heaps of siblings. And when I was about 15, my parents sent me to Auckland for school. And I feel like that's where it pretty much all started for me, where I started to dream, where I started to see different things, because Whangarei is originally where I grew up. It was a little bit too small for me, and I always felt a little bit different. So I've gone from 3 years ago, I split from my partner of 6 years. It was my first person I lost my virginity to. I thought he was my end-all and be-all. And then within that space of being split from him, I got fired for the second time within the space of 6 months. So when that all happened, I knew something needed to change. So that's pretty much where I come from.
I wonder, we've been talking about self-love today with our group here, and I'm just wondering, could you talk to us about what self-love looks like to you, and maybe how did you practice self-love, or how did you care for yourself while you were going through that challenging time?
Yeah, and I just want to say, everything that I say, this is a disclaimer on my own, that these are my own opinions and thoughts. I am no way, have not been to school and learned any of this. So take this with a grain of salt, but this is what's worked for me, and this is pretty much my life and my journey, and I share it openly and honestly, and you can follow me on social media because I do it all there as well. So self-love is different for everyone. I just want to tell you that, like, you're your own person. Like, no one is me, no one is you. So really embrace who you are. And when I was in a relationship, because I went straight from high school into a relationship, I was 18 or 17 at the time. And he was a lot older than me. And I was a bit naive. You know, I actually thought, like, you know, relationships are like the movies. So I just want to tell you, it's not. So I actually lost myself within the relationship, you know, which was quite hard. But I am a headstrong girl, and I knew my values and what I wanted. It just took me a very long time to go back to them. So if you are going through what I've been through or going through what I do, I just want to say it's okay. And to never be ashamed of anything, because life is life. And if you can get back up, if I can get back up, you can get back up. But self-love for me is understanding who I am and really my core beliefs and what I want in my life. So, you know, it's portrayed self-love as, like, you know, going to get your nails done, getting your hair done, things like that. Like, yeah, that's self-love, but it actually comes from an internal thing as well. So what happens on the inside, you know, what you're thinking, how you're feeling, all of that is self-love. And it's actually really confronting. I feel like self-love is confronting because you look at yourself, you know what's wrong, you know what right from wrong, you know where you should be going and what you're doing. So it's all about going deeper into yourself and realizing, you know, who you are, what you want, and that can stem back to childhood as well. I feel really privileged because I grew up, you know, around my marae with my nan. So I know where I come from and I know I have a home. And a lot of people don't have that. And I know a lot of people are on that journey at the moment. And I just want to say, keep on that journey.
Abi girl, can you please tell us more about your pakihi and your business and all of your mahi that you do as well, and how that kind of circles back to the self-love, because you're very stylish. You are stylish, both kakahu and of course now your eyewear range as well. And does that all kind of circle back to that whole self-love kōrero as well? Tell us about your business and your mahi.
So I've started Abi Eyewear and it has been amazing. It's a real learning. It's a real journey. But it excites me because it's mine. It's my vision. It's my dream. And that fires me up to keep going every day. And on top of that, my partner, also fiance, my mum will ground me for saying that. He owns a scaffolding business, so I do all the admin and everything else for him as well. So it's a real busy lifestyle that we live, hence why I'm sitting in my car doing this interview because we've just secured more things to move his business forward, but also mine.
Yes. Abi, e mihi kawana kia koe. Mo I whai wā ki tēnei wānanga o tira I hora I o mohioranga o wheako ki te tēpu o ai. Anei mātou ka mihi kia koe o tira te tautoko anō hoki I au mahi I tō pakihi. Nā reira mātou ka mihi atu kia koe I whai wāhi mai kia mātou. Tēnā koe Abi, thank you so much. We'll see you at practice, girl. Better practice that poi, girl. You better practice that poi. All right, ka pai tira, Abi.
All right, see ya. Have a good day. Bye.
Ki te ahi tēnei. Oh, that gives a more in-depth and described, I guess, opinion and perspective when it does come to self-love, right? What are some of the key takeaways from that kōrero that anyone wants to highlight, or any kind of takeaways that we feel are important, especially when we speak to self-love?
I loved her. Oh, sorry, Tahuna.
No, you go.
I was just going to say, I loved her belief in herself and her self-confidence. I think that is so powerful and so refreshing, and especially to see her as a wahine know that, I don't want to work for anyone else. I have my own vision. I have my own dream. I know I'm going to be big. I know I've got all this. I think that's real cool to see, and that was real special. Yeah.
Cool. I was going to touch on that too, because it's just like cool to think like that. I think that she was awesome, and especially because I think I'm like that too. Like, and I don't know if it's ego thing, but my ego kind of keeps me driven. And the way that I don't like to work for people, because I feel like, you know, as much as I need whānau and that thing, I don't need that many people. And like that's what I always think about when what she was saying. Like she's like, I just need me. I'm just gonna go do it. Yeah. And that's where that self-love comes in, She really, truly believes in herself. And I liked how she touched on kea koe te tikanga. Like if it's this, if it's that, you choose what it is for you, but choose something.
All right. Ēnei kupu e rua. Self-love, self-confidence, here keetanga?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, moku, I think with things like love, like our weight, you know, like I'm a big boy and I don't care about taking photos with my shirt off or things like that, because I truly love, I don't care. It's not that I love myself, it's like the confidence bit comes in there. Because I don't love that I'm fat. It's annoying as I can't bend over and tie my shoelaces. Like, it's a struggle in my day, you know. I don't love that, but I'm confident. But I'm confident in myself that I don't care what other people think. But that doesn't come from my self-love. If I truly love myself, I'd take my ass to the gym, you know. I get my ass going.
Yes.
Because then you're thinking about your haura, your tinana, those things. Yeah, my mental health's all good, but my physical health, shit. I reckon I need to do something.
Are you saying there is a difference or there isn't a difference?
That's the difference.
there
It's
is.
because I'm confident that I don't care about those things, but I'm not loving myself doing those things.
You can have one thing but not necessarily have the other.
Yeah.
So you could be confident in yourself but not love yourself, or you could love yourself but not have confidence.
Confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And pera hoki au, because I got big in a year. You know, I gained 20 kgs. And
When?
I actually did. I was 65 kgs all throughout high school. I'm now 86 kgs.
You are a what man?
I know. I know.
I'm 130, man. Fucking shit.
I have the same thing as confidence. Confidence carries me and it gets me going because I'm confident enough to wear all my outfits. But when I take it off and I'm at home, I'm like, oh my God, I don't love it. I don't love it when I look in the mirror. And I think that's just a stereotype that I've picked up, you know, from other people. Because all my life I've been skinny and my whānau has been like, oh my God, you've gained so much weight. But if they didn't say that, I reckon I would have loved it. I pull everything off. I can pull it off. I can pull it off. But them saying that and putting me down, it kind of gets me thinking, am I too big?
Nah.
But I know deep down I'm not, but I can't accept that yet.
Yeah, fine.
But I'm confident. Yeah.
I'm
They
fully
are the
aware.
worst.
Like I look in the thing, I'm like, fuck's sakes. So fat. This is so hard. Like I went out for a surf down Wainui last week. I was in Gizzy and I got out of the water. Man, I used to shred, Like I used to be mean at surfing. Man, I'm coming down these waves like it took me 30 minutes to get out the back of the set. And I got out. I only got to ride 2 waves. I would have been out there all day. I had to call it. My calves are burning. I get on the beach. I'm 3 Ks down the beach. I had to walk 3 Ks up the beach. I get back to Che. Oh, fucking puffing. Oh. And I was looking at myself like, Che, you really need to do something about this, eh?
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, Macca's, babe.
So there's definitely herereke.
Yeah, you have to be aware, eh?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So what? Are we saying that there's a lack of self-love out there, but self-confidence is very much evident? Or
Yeah.
Are we? Because like what I'm feeling as well is that there's almost a stigma if you say you love yourself, that you seem too cocky, right? So like, see what did you sense from Arby? Did you sense self-love, self-confidence, both? Like,
I think both, and I think people want to pull it down because it's all poppy bullshit.
Oh, heck yes.
Because like they see someone like that and they wish they could say that. Like they think they're special. She truly believes she's special.
Yeah.
She's known she's special since she was
it's empowering to hear someone say, I knew from an early age that I was
I'm
destined
special.
for greatness.
I think
no?
sometimes too in Te Ao Māori we, you know, repeat this whole kaore te kumara.
He tangata humari e tata.
Yeah. You know, we're really about like the whakaiti, but in that process, we can often like whakaiti people, you know, and I don't think there's anything wrong with being confident. In fact, I don't think there's anything wrong with ego.
Hard out.
You know, I think ego is what drives us, exactly what, you know, what has been said before. I don't think there's anything wrong with believing in yourself. You know, there's cockiness, but maybe, you know, what's to say that, you know, who's to say that?
Hei whakaua anō ia tātou, hei whakahoki mai ia tātou ki tēnei wānanga, kia whitingi ia tātou e ngā whakaaro, e ngā kōrero a te hunga rangatahi. Nā reira kia te tahuri ake ki Rangatahi Talks. Whakarongo mai.
How do you keep your whare tapawhā in check?
I like to reflect on what happened today, to ask myself if I am feeling healthy, or good, if I feel good about myself physically or mentally. I like to reflect at the end of the day.
I think tinana nei, you know, it's making sure you're clean. Wairua nei, ko te mahi ai, he mahi a wairua kia hau nei, so just making sure you're connecting with somebody spiritually.
How do you keep your whare tapawhā in check? So that's all of the different ahuatanga of your healthy. Talking is my remedy to feeling not the best or not on top of the world. So talking to my mates, my family, having a good sleep and a kai.
I think it goes back to what you follow, who you surround yourself with, what you're eating, and
going home for me is so important because I don't live at home. I live away from home, and living away from home is hard.
What is self-care to you?
Just tiaki ia hau anō, te whare tapawhā, tinana hinengaro wairua whānau.
By knowing who I'm letting into my circle, by understanding what I'm doing, by understanding who I'm letting into my space.
Sleep.
Yes, sleep.
how important is keeping a low body count to you? Not that I've tried to keep a low body count, it's just happened that way because I was lucky that the bodies in my counts were great.
Stayed there for a long time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's important. You know, you never know if this is the one. Like sometimes you feel like it's the one and then it's not. You know, it just doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So it's not like I keep count.
As long as you're faithful in the relationship.
Yeah. As long as you're not in a relationship at that time you're sleeping around, then I think it doesn't really matter.
Do you care if your partner has a high body count?
Nah. It's in the past. Te taia te ai.
Yeah.
No, as long as it was before me, then okay to buy.
So in the instance that like it's 1 million.
I assume if I had a partner, I would be dating them or whatever, going out with them based on who they are now. I wouldn't worry too much about their past unless they sort of, I don't know, carry sort of those bad behaviours onwards sort of thing. If that's where their mind is at, then I would probably not be comfortable with having a partner like that.
Do you care if your partner has a high body count?
Not gonna lie, it's in the back of my mind. And it's just insecurities, when you're like, oh, are they comparing me to the people they've had before? Am I living up to standards? But then at the end of it all, no, because hopefully they've learned something from all of that.
Heha ngā akoranga, heha ngā mōraru hāpai e ngā kōrero katahi anō ka tukuna e ngā rangatahi.
I think what I got out of it is that me whai a koe I tō ake ara and me whai koe I tō ake ara and me whakaro mō ake. Mā tāpono pūkinga and hey, noho loving that.
No loving that.
Just okay with it.
It's cool to hear our Rangatahi talk about, that was from my rando, it doesn't, it's not affecting me now. So I think, just big ups to them for having that whakaro.
Pai te whakaro o tērā wahine ki au te whakaro o te ko wai ngā tangata kei roto I tō porohita, or who are you letting into your space, into your circle, because I think that's a good thing kind of around, we spoke a little bit about te whare tapa, te taha whānau, and so thinking about, who is around you, so not only self-love, but who is potentially taking that energy from you and who is giving to you as well. So oh
my gosh, that so reminds me of my nan. My nan always says in high school, be careful of who you surround yourself with because you could be like them. Ka kitea tērā.
The people you surround yourself heavily influence you, the way you think, the way you behave, your mannerisms, little key codes, all that kind of stuff.
And I liked what you say about your wairua when you give it back to the tile. Be in a good place before you're ready to let go of it.
Let go.
And then you'll be in a good place to take.
I love that because especially when you're looking at surrounding yourself with the right people, there's that kōrero that goes, show me your 5 best friends and I'll show you your future.
Exactly.
So it influences, the type of people you surround yourself with does inevitably influence and impact who you are and how you process things as well, how you internalize things as well. So kia tūpato, kia matara, tātou. But I love that as a form of self-care because what it's doing is being conscious, being intentional about who you are surrounding yourself with, because from that, of course, they impact the way you see yourself as well, right? So ka tino mihi au ki ngā kōrero, I still personally don't know what self-love is. I don't know if that made it like more difficult to understand, but I did get more insight as to what I can do, right? So I got more ideas on what I can possibly do to lift that self-love, self-aroha.
There's no wrong.
Yeah. Pere, it's okay if you don't know. Like this is a whole learning curve, and koira tā tātou mahi. We're just here to give wānanga and make sense of things amongst ourselves, and if it doesn't make sense to you, kei te pai. Take your time to make sense of it. So now you got heaps of rauemi.
Tika. I love taupoi with intention and actually giving genuine concentration and focus into what you're doing, especially when it does come to self-love. If you're feeling a bit down, how can you lift that up? What can you do to intentionally bring that up and not just go out blasé, all that kind of jazz? Ai hoa no I tino pai ngā whakaro e hoa mā, me taku mihi kia tātou. Me taku mihi kia tātou. Hoi anō, anei taku kiwaha hei whakakapi a tātou, ko wairua pai, ka ākina, ko aria, ka tiakina. E hoa mā, me taku mihi nui, kia koutou katoa ka whakairihia te tapu ngā kōrero, ki runga ka whakamaua kia tīna.
Tīna.
Haumi e hui e, tai ki e, mauri ora.